Hello, this here is the LEGO Optimus Prime official set. I bought this for $170 US and built the whole thing live over on my Twitch channel. This comes with 1,508 pieces and it is roughly 1/32nd scale, roughly, to the size that the original G1 Optimus would have been in universe. Not the same scale as a minifig, but I think close enough. It's a little bit larger, in fact, but it kind of works out. You can imagine holding a person in the hand to save them and protect them and all. I've got almost all of the accessories included in the set on here, including the jetpack, and got a little cube of energon here. You can look at that really quickly because there's not really that much to talk about with that. Just dark pink and magenta. That's that. Also got the blaster over here. I'll leave that in his hands for now. The only thing that I'm not showing is the axe, which I will show a little bit later on when it gets connected up, because you have to remove a hand to make that work. Really quickly, this is the most important thing to some folks, but it's easy to overlook for others. These two stickers and the decorations on them are, strictly speaking, technically upside down in their orientation. That's how it's shown on the main box art. It's also how it's shown in the instructions. I'm gonna leave them like this in the video, but they're very easy to flip because they're just tiles. If you want to turn them upside down or turn them right side up, just take the piece off, turn it over, and put it back on. I'm gonna leave it like this though. This plaque is included, and it's one of a number of different styles of the collector's style plaques that LEGO does. I don't have quite a lot of consistency with that, but it's just a single sticker on there. Let's focus on the main build though. I will say that the build process for this was surprisingly simple. The building techniques are surprisingly straightforward and really didn't impress me at all along the way. But the end result, the completed model, now that is something special. This does use some stickers, but most of the important details that you see that involve graphics are prints, and that includes this right here, this arrow, all of the wheel covers, all that detail for these bits. These are all done with prints here. And also the eyes, interestingly, right down in there, that is a printed 1x2 plate piece printed on the side. And I think the print is very good, but the size is not quite right. I wish that it was just slightly wider and that the bracket underneath, that's a half of a plate high, was a little bit shorter. I just feel like the eyes are a little bit too close together and a little bit too far up, but only slightly. This is also a print right here with the 1x2 tile in front. The proportions of this are very good, in my opinion, based on what I've seen. Like they've done a very good job of capturing the original design of Optimus. Sorry about the focus hunting there. There we go. The build of this blaster is actually very nice. Again, pretty straightforward, but I think it looks very good. And of course, I need to show you all the articulation and everything that's possible with this. It's very sturdy. I'm not worried about anything falling apart, just messing around with it, moving it around and such. I've moved this around a bunch of times, and I've also transformed it. If you didn't know, it is 100% transformable. It's one of the largest official transformable models of G1 Optimus ever, which is quite the treat. Another print right back here. But the one thing I don't like about its stability and its sturdiness and everything is the fact that it does lean forward a little bit. See, it's just leaning by default, and it does not have any articulation in the ankles, so you're not really able to make up for that no matter what, as long as you have the arms resting straight or slightly forward, especially if you got the blaster on there like that. It's going to be leaning forward a little bit. No worries though about this falling over time. Let me go ahead and show you some of the additional details. For instance, right here in the chest, this opens up and there's a suggestion of the matrix of leadership there, which you can take out very easily. A very simple build with a single cool technique on it. I believe this is the first time we've gotten this railing piece, this bar piece, in the metallic silver color, so that's good. There's no stud connection or anything for this. It just kind of sits in a space, but it's very comfortable there and then gets held in with the windows. The head is on a ball joint, so it can fully rotate around to the sides. It can also angle to the sides a little bit like so. It can look down too much. And you can also look up. This is the limit of the ball joint itself, but there's an additional joint inside of there. So it's essentially a double jointed neck so that you can angle it even farther back like that. And that's with the jetpack still on there. I'll show you what the back looks like without the jetpack. But you got some pretty decent expressive range here for a Lego thing. The shoulders are on ratcheted joints that we're pretty familiar with. So this is able to go fully up and fully down, back and forward, and also splay in and out just a bit. Got a limitation there. Also, there is a transformation specific joint in here, a secondary one that allows us to move back and forward a little bit. And it's useful for posing, even though it's intended to be for transformation. It's nice to have that secondary joint in there to just get a little bit more out of it. Once again, for the elbows, you've got the ratcheted joints, the traditional ones. So get the full 90 degrees of elbow articulation there. And it can also hyperextend slightly, and these can rotate around. So you can go around this way and this way. You can kind of start to put some of these things together to do different things, so that's pretty decent range so far. Each of the hands is able to rotate around also, and you've got the main fingers that are linked together, and the thumb is its own separate thing. And this is mostly articulated for the sake of the transformation feature. So you can be able to tuck that in, bring this all down, make it smaller, but it's more articulation than the original had, that's for sure, because the original had just, single piece of plastic, and that was it. There is waist articulation on this, but it's a little bit limited because of the front of the body here, which, gets tucked all in to make it look pretty good. Technically, the belt segment here is not supposed to rotate, so you're not able to make good use of that for posing. Just a little bit is available to you normally, but it's absolutely critical for the transformation. As you can see, I've got the legs splayed right now. The legs can be brought together perfectly straight for that. Classic, very, very, very straight up and down, very boring, very basic, old school style of look, but you can also splay these out quite a bit. And I think it can just barely stay right there. I don't think that it's going to continue to do the splits any farther. You saw that there's also some rotation around the knees right in there, but it's just rotation. It's not that useful. These can be moved, but that's for the sake of transformation. And then down at the feet, the toes or the whole front of each foot is able to rotate for the sake of the transformation, but this does not have enough friction in it to be used to hold a pose. So if you want to put this into a walking pose, you can rotate the legs forward and back. You can kind of bring this down just for the looks, but it's not actually going to hold it. See if I try to get it there, it's gonna, that's not gonna hold up the weight of the thing. So for a walking pose, you do definitely have to be pretty careful. There's just a little bit, there's one spot that I found where you can get something that looks, it's mostly with one leg forward. Is this it? Something in this range? Yeah, right about there. So there's, a little bit of differential between the two, but it's not great. And part of this is balancing a little bit with the use of the friction underneath. So this does have some friction pads, these orange ones, or the inserts that have been used many times in recent history to add friction to tracks, to large Caterpillar tank style tracks. Before I get into the transformation, I just want to show the back of this with the jetpack removed. This is only attached with a couple of clips straight into the body, and the bars that these clip into are nicely hidden when this is not present, so that's pretty good. These are on ball joints here. You can change the angles of them, the nozzles, but the main purpose of that is just to allow them to be angled out statically by default. It doesn't really do much, but this looks really good from the outside. It's nicely finished up, and the back doesn't look too bad itself. Also, you notice down the legs, they use inverted tiles to cover up some of the anti-studded surfaces. So all this is nicely covered up. They also add the slight bit of extra thickness right in here, which is really good. This is one of the better looking mechs from the back, I think, that Lego has ever put out, and I very much appreciate that. And I do apologize for using the term mech for Optimus, who is not a mech. He's actually a robot. All right, let me get this transformation going, see if I can do it in a single take. I'm going to put these together. I've not practiced this more than once or twice. I think this needs to rotate around. It's going to go straight down. I'm going to pull this up for now, rotate all this around also, and then angle this like so. Just about halfway there already. This can go down farther. These are going to angle down like so. And then these are going to, let's see, this one doesn't really lock, the whole thing doesn't really lock into place unless you rotate these up, which is nice, but the body doesn't lock into place particularly well, but that'll end up working out. This is going to come in. This also needs to be angled up. This goes this way, if I recall correctly. Yes, and then this angles down underneath. Kind of doing multiple things at one time here. But it's, I mean, for somebody who's not a Transformers person, this is still rather easy. And I think with a little bit more practice, it will become much more smooth of a process. I just wanted to show you as much as possible the whole thing together. This will cover across. I think these need to come down another notch down in there, in between, and I think I'm just about there. We'll just tidy this up slightly. There we go. That looks about right. And then the blaster, you fold the grip forward, turn it upside down, falls right down in there. Gives you a little suggestion of a fifth wheel there, and gives it a nice look. Like this fits in pretty properly. I just realized that I had one piece that was offset. I do apologize, on one side of the foot. There we go. That's more like it. And this is the transformed form, the truck form, ready to roll out, the auto form, I guess, with one exception. So this is what you would see on the toys before, because that's the belt buckle, and that's just where the belt ends up being. However, the set does come with an option piece, an extra 2x6 tile with an extra sticker, and you can swap that out to give it the more cartoon accurate look, where he magically swaps that piece out and it becomes a proper bumper, so you don't see his belt buckle there. And this is a more complete and fully correct version. It looks pretty darn good. It's very satisfying. Just gotta tweak things a little bit. The tires do stick out just a little bit from the fenders there. This is drum lacquered silver here. These are drum lacquered silver. This is all gray. This is metallic silver, with the molded color. These here are metallic silver also. And then the little bits that were on the front of the leg are also drum lacquered. So you get a little bit of shine in there. There's some bright metallic printing on the wheel covers as well. And just generally speaking, this looks pretty darn good, and it is able to be driven back and forth. I really like this. The cab is slightly isolated, so you can shake it a little bit and make it come to life, make it look like it's revving up slightly. And for a little bit of extra credit, they don't show you this as an official feature, but it definitely fits. It definitely works with the greatest of ease. The jetpack unit, the whole unit, will fit right there on the back perfectly and easily. Just put it right there, and now you have a jet boosted semi truck, which is even cooler in my opinion. That's absolute perfection. Yes, that's exactly what I would want as a kid. I would want to be able to make this into a really, really, really fast truck. And how would you make a fast truck? When you have a jetpack, you put the jetpack on the back. It's perfect. This is cool, and it's clean. It's very clean. It almost looks like a half of a Lego model, like a Lego compatible model. There are so many flat and clean and smooth surfaces on it with just a handful of studs sticking out. As I've said many times, I am not against, much like Lego itself, I'm not against the appearance of studded surfaces, but this is indeed trying to represent something that both in universe and in original toy form did not have studs all over. It did not have texture all over. It was mostly smooth. And I think that the right choices were made here, and the end result is just as good as I personally could ask for. It is again a little bit finicky. I did spend a minute between cuts to align the sides a little bit. I'm sure that with more experience of doing this multiple times, I could get it better. I had also originally not folded the little steps out, so those had to be folded out. You get the hands just right, and the sides of the bumper can easily be turned in. They're supposed to be flat, but there's nothing to hold them. However, the center of this actually does connect to a couple of studs on the other side temporarily. So the bumper is actually fairly sturdy, and it's actually connected to the rest of it, even though this whole thing has been folded around. These are angled in slightly. They do have a stopping point, but there's some stuff that can kind of move around and become a little bit loose. It's not the most durable thing to play with. It's not bad especially for a collector focused model to play with. And I think that most of the folks that get this in its intended age range will have no issues with that. But I did want to point out that it is not 100% sturdy, but it feels pretty good. I really love the shaking of the cab. Careful not to pull the whole thing off there, though. It's easy to put it back. But generally speaking, I'm super happy with this. All right, let's see a Transformers newbie untransform this, or turn it back. The inverse order of operation is even more foreign to me than the first. So again, beware of things being done wrong here for sure, or not the optimal order of operations, but I do want to at least give it an attempt. It's not that bad, but I will certainly get better at this over time. That's really simple. I know that this has to happen. I also know that this has to happen right here. Don't forget to take the gun out. The blaster, that is. Lego doesn't do guns, of course. That's funny. And yeah, from messing around with the cab, see, I loosened up this joint right here. So just get that back in there. It probably contributed a little bit to some of the looseness that I was seeing. But rotate this back around, bring this in, tuck these in around the sides. This goes farther than that. Goes in farther than that. All right. Did I miss something? Is there anything that I missed here? There we go. Bring these back. That's good. That's fine. That's fine. These. Yes. Okay. Get in there. There we go. Loosen these up. Leave them kind of like that, or splay them out if you want. Make it look a little bit more organic. There you go. And the blaster is able to fit into a convenient little space here. It actually has a couple of studs to hold it into place, or alternately, I can pull all of this out entirely and push this straight in. So that becomes a thing. And I forgot to give him his all important belt buckle back as well. There we go. Attach that properly. There we go. And that's what it looks like with the axe. Not bad. It does a pretty good job of showing what it's supposed to be and what it's supposed to look like. It is not symmetrical one side to the other. More of the transparent pieces on this side. Nice to get that unprinted trans orange 5-sided tile piece, shield cover piece. Not bad at all. You can lift it over his head and everything. But again, it does kind of shift the whole thing forward. So I'm just going to angle the body back, angle the head forward, and then try to mitigate the forward leaning angle of it by default with the center of gravity shifting forward a little bit. I also didn't show you that these legs the feet are able to rotate side to side just a little bit to make sure that this stays as stable as possible. Last things to show you, leftover pieces, not too many special things in there, and then sticker sheet is pretty straightforward. At the end of the day, do I think this is $170 US worth of plastic? No, I don't. However, this is 14 inches tall, just a little under 35 centimeters. It is one of the largest actual transforming official Transformers Optimus Primes ever made as an official kit. To get bigger, I think today on the market, you have to go to the self-transforming one with all the servos in it and everything. That's $750. That one is a few inches taller than this, but this is significantly larger than the larger of the Masterpiece series, which comes in somewhere around here. And just look at the market for Transformers in general. They are expensive. I'm not talking about aftermarket prices. I'm talking about retail prices when the things come out and are actually available at standard prices. And all things considered, I just can't be too mad at the price of this, considering it's 2022 and everything is ridiculously expensive, but still not being happy about that, not being satisfied with that situation, just recognizing it, recognizing that this is fully licensed. It is Optimus Prime, and it's Lego also. Has some exclusive prints on it. Has some drum lacquered pieces on it. All in all, I'm not too mad at it. Let me give you a couple of important size comparisons though. First of all, Voltron. You know I had to bring this into frame. Voltron is significantly larger. It has significantly more mass. It's significantly heavier, and ultimately there's a lot more to it. There's a lot more to it. Not as articulatable, doesn't fully transform the way that this does as a single thing, but of course you can pull the extremities off and everything and convert it into the 5 individual lions. It's a very good set. Costs just a little bit more than this when it came out, but adjust for inflation, this on the market today would be $200 to $210 US compared to the $160 for this. And I think that's a decent ratio between the two. So I think overall value, pretty similar between these two, honestly, for the price you pay, of course. And then this is a 1/48th scale or mega scale Gundam RX-78-2, model of the original Gundam. For folks who know this world at all, I just wanted to show that comparison as well. This Gundam is just slightly taller than this, but this is a pure plastic push together model, completely different things. Sprue kit and stuff from Bandai generally gives you a much better value, but it's a completely different market. It's a completely different thing. You don't typically take a Gundam model apart and then use its pieces to make other things. This is all genuine Lego stuff. This is at least as articulated, if not a little bit more, but ultimately this is Lego. It is its own thing. I think that it has its own unique value. This would have been $85 US or so when it was released. Right about now, you can get it for about $100. So compare that to $160 over here. Yeah, if you just want to have something on display that looks really cool, yeah, these win easily. So I've got a bunch of them and keep getting more and more of them that show up in the background here, and keep doing more and more Gundam streams over on my Twitch channel. But in spite of all that, I still feel that this is a pretty solid value for what it is today, and it makes me happy. Fundamentally, it makes me happy. It makes me happy enough, in fact, with my biases, that I had to buy myself a second one. And both of these are for me. Did not buy the second one for the content. Did not show you the second one in the video until just now. Just transformed this one. What more do you need? It's easy to transform. But I've always wanted to have a G1 Optimus Prime. And I finally have one, and it's good, and it's big, and it's Lego as well. I like both forms of it. So thank you, Lego, for making this. Thank you for taking a heck of a lot of money out of my wallet. I'm still happy with it. Thanks for watching. Talk to you again soon.